Okay, number 13. Okay, so again, who's winning the battle? I got more negatives than I do positives. Don't think about the numbers itself, like the value. Who's gonna win the battle? The bad guys are gonna win, that's why it's negative, and by how many? Just find the difference. So in other words, if they are the same signs, we are basically adding them together. And if they're different signs, we are subtracting them. So in other words, I just think about who do I have more of and by how many. That's basically what I do. If they're all positive, you add them. They're all negative, you add them, but you keep the negative. That's the only issue that I see, yes.
So pretty much the definition of integers is adding positives to negatives.
Right, positive, negative, 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 positive, positive. You already know positive, positive. You just never thought of it as integers, right? Okay, so let's look at some of these examples here, okay? So I would definitely do a couple of these. So I have here, I have 10 bad guys, right? So this is 10 bad, and I have 8 good. Who's gonna win, good or bad? Bad. See bad? By how many? Just you do the difference here, which is by 2. Okay? Because they're not on the same team, they're competing. That's the answer, done. Okay? But again, you gotta pay attention to the sign in front, that's why I'm circling. Okay, sometimes they will in textbooks put parentheses around this, that's just to show you that this negative goes with this 4. Doesn't mean multiply. Okay? So I have 4 positives, because we don't see a sign associated with positive, and I have 4 negatives. Who's winning the battle?
No one.
No one. So therefore, these are opposites, so they cancel out, so the answer is 0. 0 does not have a sign, we talked about that earlier as well this year. Now, this one. I got 7 positives, and I got 2 negatives. Who's winning the battle? More positives, right? By how many? 5. Right, because you would take the difference of the 2. Yeah. Okay, so do I have to put a plus sign there? No, I do it just so that I remembered, I pay attention to my sign. I remembered what the sign was. Okay? Questions there? Not a hard concept. Okay? Now, they do 0 pairs, I'm not even doing that. Okay, there's another way you could do it, I am doing it. Okay, so let's look at these 2. All right, ready? Who's winning the battle here, good or bad?
Bad.
Bad? By how many?
1.
Okay. Who's winning the battle?
Bad.
Okay, so hold on.
Bad.
There's not even a battle, right? Because they're all bad, right? You're bad, so we're all bad. So what do we do with those? Add them, but I keep it all bad, right? Because they're all bad. Now, there is a way to show it. So basically, if you ever see a visual, and I'm just going to say in case you see it, sometimes they have these what are called counters. See, I have 5 negatives. We'll do a negative, a negative, a negative, a negative, and a negative, right? And I got 4 positives. And if you remember, positives and negatives, they cancel each other out. And what am I left with? 1 negative, 1 negative. See that? That's called 0 pairs. Fancy word for basically what we're doing, we're canceling it out. This one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 negatives. And then I got 3 more negatives. Nothing cancels out, that's why it's 12 negatives. Questions there?
No.
Okay, so. Go up to the board, I want you to do these ones, please. You don't need 6 minutes, you probably need about 3.
Or 2. What?
Okay, pay attention to the sign in front. And its addition so far. For these ones, there will not be work to be shown. You just give me the answer. And be careful though that,
Why is it wrong with the?
I can't, are there only 3 or is something behind it? 2 minutes and.
nope, there's only 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you ask yourself, what do I have more of? By how many? Ask yourself, are they on the, or you can say, are they on the same team or different team? And by how many, who's gonna win? Nope, I just need the answer. Just write your answer as an integer. Make sure you have your signs right. If they're all bad, or the bad's winning, you better have a negative, or it's wrong.
I think it's 34. I thought 34.
I'm not done. This is just the first step. Okay, you should be back in your seat once you're done.
No, why is this so confusing?
Who wins, good or bad?
Good.
By how many? No, you have the right answer. What's your answer?
Oh.
They're all bad. I'm glad, glad most of you, number 2 is not 0.
I know, I figured that.
Not 0, they're both bad. Again, I did that on purpose to see if you would write 0. Okay, first one. Okay,
Why is it so confusing?
I have 6 positives. I have 1 negative. I'm using addition, so that basically says I can compare them now. I have positives winning by 5. Okay? This is 17 bad people and 17 more bad. They're all bad. So we add. Them. However, they're all bad. So make sure you had a negative. Some of you forgot it initially, and then I said something, and you put it in there. Okay, they're bad. Okay, now this one. I have 19 positives and 27 negatives. I have more negatives than I do positives. So therefore, they're on different teams, and I subtract, and we had 8. Okay? Easy problem is if you forget the negative. That's the whole purpose of this, okay? Don't do the math right and then forget a negative. It's so easy to do because you're not used to doing that. Yes, sir.
So it's like a positive and then a negative.
Yeah. If they're different signs, you subtract. If they're the same signs, you add because they're on the same team. Think about tug of war. That's how I think about it. In your science classes, sometimes talk about energy, like if I'm pulling on over here and I have more people over here than I do over here, then they will typically will win. There's obvious force, right? You have force, and things like that. So that's what I'm trying to tell you there.
Kinetic energy.
Yep. Okay, so what if I was to find the sum of this? Okay, so let's write these. This is a good example here. I'm going to do 1 or 2 depending on it. So let's go and write this one as a good example. So I have 5 plus a negative 3 plus a 7 plus a negative 1. Now, sometimes in the textbook, again, they'll put these in parentheses. It's just showing you the negative is grouped with that number. Okay? So, all right. How do you think I'm going to do this?
We're gonna start out with 5 and 3.
Okay?
I would add the negative and the positive and then negative 4.
Okay, so you actually can add them any way you want. And you're going, what? I'm supposed to do addition before I do subtraction, but these are symbols. So I tend to go left to right. What you said will still work, okay? So what you said will still work, but let me show you one way. So you could go left to right. So who won between these two? Positive by 2. And then I bring everything down. I'm just showing you one way. Then I would add the next 2 here. Those are all good, so that'd be 9. Plus a -1, which would be 8, right? Now, what she said is also going to work because they are integers. Okay? Remember how I told you subtraction and negatives are alike? Yeah. Okay? Because really, I can write this as 7 minus 1. But it's actually 7 plus a -1. You just, again, don't see it that way. So what Elena was saying that she could group all the negatives together, which would be, these are all on the bad team, so there's 4 bad people, right? Then you can put all the good together, which would be 12. And that's really 12 minus 4, or 12 plus a -4, which is still 8. So you can choose either way. I just like to still go left to right. That's just out of habit. It just depends on my mood. So you can do the same method for the next one. So go up to the board. I want you to do this one. Okay? Any method will work as long as you follow the rules.
Teacher,
Again, either way, it's still going to work. And if I put the negatives in parentheses, our eyes are going to be able to focus a little better.
I'm about ready.
Okay? Find the sum. You can do Elena's way where she got all the good together, all the bad together, and then found the difference, which would still work. Or you can go left to right. Again, you do not have to do it. Either way will work for me as long as you get the right answer. Because sometimes it's smaller and they can't see it that well. Here's a hint. I always find opposites and cross those out first. Just a little suggestion. If you find opposites, it's always a good idea to get rid of them. You don't have to look at them. Okay, I got it. Once you have the right answer.
So if it's positive and negative, you should.
Yeah, but they're on different sides of the battle. Subtract.
That doesn't work here. You can't. Oh, never mind.
Once you have them right, you gonna go and finish it up.
Is it the same answer as last time? This is Edward. This is Edward.
All the numbers on the number line, all the numbers in the world are in there. As long as they're a positive or negative whole number and no decimals and integer. 2 plus -3. Oh, wait. All right, what were you doing? You wrote -1? And then add 7, add -7. Are they on the same team? So what we do? Yeah, keep them negative, because they're bad. Here, I'll show you. Okay, ready? The answer was 8. Answers are 8. Okay? Should add a -12 with all the bad. Okay, I did the good first. So I got 2 good, 10 good, and 8 good, which makes 20 good. I like to do a plus just because I know I'm paying attention. Okay, positive. And then I have 3 bad, 7 bad, that makes 10 bad. And then this will do bad. So I add 12 more bads, or 2 more bads, I have 12 bad. And then you just take the difference. Well, this is really it. That and this are the same thing. That's why I told you negatives and subtraction are basically the same thing. You just don't choose to see it that way. Okay, Valerie, you would end up getting that answer.
What answer?
8.
Oh.
Okay, answer is 8. Okay, now, next type of problem, so it is slightly different. What if I had this? So this reviews what we have. So just like parentheses, absolute value is a grouping symbol. So again, it goes in the G group of the G, then the E, M, D, A, S, the order of operations. So it is grouped. So that means do what's inside of there first, and then find the absolute value. So, see how this is grouped? Grouping all of this inside here, okay? So what you do, this is a very good example, as well as the next, is you evaluate. Find the answer to this. Ignore the bar. So who wins the battle, the good or the bad? By how many? 11. Now, I bring down my bars. What is the absolute value of positive 11? 11 spaces from 0. Yeah. Okay, this one, same idea. Do what's inside of the parentheses first, or well, grouping symbols, right? Okay. Same side or different side? Same. So what are we gonna do with those 2 numbers? Add them, which gives me 35, but it's a negative 35, right? Because they're all bad. And then I take the absolute value, which means how far is negative 35 from 0? 35 is your final answer. The only difference between this and this is that what would you do differently on this problem though? Would I start, I wouldn't add these, right? First, what should I do though, MJ? Right, so then you would do this problem different because you would evaluate this. So this is 4 and 15. And in this case, the answer would be different, 19. Okay, so it does matter how it's grouped. By the way, we did this, just not with negative. Well, we did actually, no, we did it before, just not with 2 negatives. Anyways, so last but not least, you're going to see problems where it involves word problems, okay? We're going to look for those keywords that mean positive versus negative. So let's just look at this one here. I'm going to have you write an expression and then solve it. Remember, an expression is a number sentence. Is a number sentence where there is no equal sign. Let's express it. So look right here. I'm going to read it, and then I want you to think about what the number sentence would look like. What would the problem look like? That's means great expression. Okay, so whale was at a depth of 275 feet below the surface of the water. After 10 minutes, it rose 194 feet. What is the current depth of the blue whale? So, do whales swim on top of the water? No. No. Okay, so if it's at a depth of, or if you saw the word below, what would this integer look like? So my expression would be, it's at negative 275 feet. And then, what was that other word you saw that goes, ooh, I know that's going to be this, what was that? Rose. So this would be indicating a positive. So I don't have to write plus a positive. I can just write this. That's my expression. Then solve it. So where is the blue whale at? I better be underneath the water, first of all. Better be negative. Yes, it would be, right? And by how many? Well, I would have to take 275 minus 194.
And then negative whatever you get, which is
81? But the answer is negative 81 feet. Don't write, you could write technically 81 feet below the surface, but as an integer, it would be negative 81 feet. Yes.
And you could have done this, 9 plus 1 in the whole, so that's 1, and then 7 was 8, so 8, yeah, 5 and 4 are just 1 part away, so 81.
Okay. All right, so then, let's see if you remember for the bank account. Yes. Yes. Is it really like this big of a deal? Just don't worry about it. It'll be all right. No, you're fine. I just really distracting you.
Who is Edward Rich?
Okay, so. Let's see if you remember this. Look for the board. Let's see if you write this expression. I want to see if you remember what deposit versus withdrawal means. And if I write a check. So we're starting out with, this is how much money I have in my account. Positive, we're in the positive, good, I'm not about the negative. Okay, then I deposit $69. Then I take out, I withdraw $250, and then I write a check for $75. Writing a check is the same as swiping a card.
Taking that money.
Okay? Checks take a little longer to post, which is called posting to it, but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think
Second time you want to split.
Okay, write your expression. So right now I have $327 in the account. Then I deposit $69. And then I withdraw $250. And then I write a check for $75. What do I have left in my account? Okay, so first of all, when you write an expression, I should see it as a number set. So like, good, unless you're good. I don't have to say that. So show it what it looks like in one line across. Yes.
what's the withdrawing put in?
Like withdrawing from a game.
And then the deposit means put in.
Direct deposit. You know what I said about direct deposit? Direct deposit is payday. When it's my direct deposit day, I like it.
In your wish.
I wish. Okay, now once you write the number settings, then solve. Deposit versus withdrawal. Withdrawal is like pulling you out of a game. So that's how it's the same situation for money. Writing a check is like spending money. So you can do whatever way you want. You want to put all the good together, all the bad together, and then find the difference, fine. But make sure you have the right sign. You can use integers with fractions, and that is something that pre-algebra does. Okay, so that is something I'm not going to get to, but that is something that you will need to know how to do. I do believe this is, or yeah, this is our last one. This is the last example. Yeah, so if you're done.
What is the I test?
Okay, yes, you can put your marker away. Okay, once you're done, come up and see me and let's see if we got the right answer. Okay, the only ones that I'll need to see work is basically, if I say write an expression, write it. And if you have to solve big numbers, like with subtractions involved, I probably would see some work for that. But other than that, there's not a lot to show.
Your keyboard lights up.
There we go. Okay. That's okay. So just because everybody else is right doesn't mean that you're wrong. So the answer is as follows. I'm gonna go over it, see we got it right, okay? So, let's just make sure we're clear about this. Deposit is like direct deposit, payday. You like deposits, you like them. Withdrawal, I hate. That's when I have to pay bills. So you could have put a plus a negative 250, or you could have just wrote minus 250, same thing. And then I wrote a check for $75. So these are negatives and those were positives. So if you add the positives together and add the negatives together, you should come up with the same. By the way, I thought about this as money with quarters. How I did that one. This one would be a 6, carry the 1, so that'd be 8, 9. This, and the difference is 71. So how much do I have left in my account? I'm still in the positive. But again, I had $230 or $327 to put more money in, because then I had to pay a bill, and then I had to pay another bill. So that's basically what happens in the real world. The only other thing that's on that handout that I gave you is where there are, which is basically what you have is what I assigned for my brother. They have ones with expressions like this, like X plus. Yeah. So that's what